All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Orange County Partnership Board of Directors meeting for June 16, 4 p.m. We are here at 40 Matthew Street in Goshen. This is a public meeting, and it is being live streamed. Notice this meeting was published in accordance with the New York State Open Meetings Law. Our call to order, we actually have all members present except Ryan and Melissa, I believe. And approval of minutes. Everyone received the packet from Cassie with the minutes from our last board meeting, which was May 19th. Does anyone have any comments or questions on our minutes from our May 19th board meeting? Okay, hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve our minutes.
Make a motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our motion carries. All right, our financial report, Greg Peckham.
So strong month, again, we continue with a very strong financial performance. We had a 103 that's our net income, which was double the budget for the month. And this year continues to be well above last year and above plan. Connor touched on this at last meeting, I believe, but the Golf Classic, was just very successful. $200,000, income was pretty tremendous, and a big improvement over last year. Expenses running low, receivables, still in line with our expectations, maybe a little bit high, but some of that's just the timing that we discussed. So that should balance out. Nothing new that you're concerned about from that perspective,
No,
right?
no.
Yeah. Okay. So then the other side of that, I guess, is that we are down a little bit on our private investor revenue, and we have again some I think healthy pipelines there that you're working on to try to improve that. So overall, very strong performance. Going to kind of Cassie's talking about this here too as well. Working capital, talking about every month, just continues to improve. We're a very strong ratio there. We've got a tremendous amount in our investment account, checking savings, all that's still steady. Nothing else really to report there. So.
And it's, I think I want to add on the checking savings, we're back up over $1 million, which is good. We kind of came back from some extraordinary expenses over the past few years, but we're back up over $1 million. And then, the golf outing, although expenses were higher than perhaps what we thought, we kind of sold to make up that balance. So ended up crossing the $200,000 threshold, which the organization hasn't done before. And then we, as you said, Greg, netted 134, which again accounts for that 10% growth even with increased expenses. So good team effort all around. And as compared to, I think, Cassie, you ran that analysis on the AR, which shows as this time last year, we're marginally tracking better, right?
I think it was 7 or 8% better
than last year.
So
we're somewhat in line, but as for the AR, we already have commitments, and a bunch of them are, think hospitals or large institutions were on 60, 90-day processing
and
cycles.
Since the report was run on May 31st, we've already collected 30,000. That's 7 days.
Yeah. So we continue to chase it down, but good things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Greg. I know one thing that I want to mention, and that we've talked about this, we haven't gotten there yet, but is revenue diversification. I think that needs to be a focus for us moving forward. We remain, we're a mission-driven nonprofit, and like many, we remain sort of at the whim of people deciding that they like what we do and giving us money. It would be ideal to find some sources of revenue that are less potentially risky in a changing economic climate. So that's something that we are going to continue to work on and talk about. We just haven't really set up the structures and gotten to a point where we're ready to venture into new sources of revenue. But does anyone have any other comments on financials? Okay, hearing none, I will take a motion to approve the financials as presented.
Second.
We need it first.
First motion.
All right, and all in favor,
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, our motion carries, and we're on to our business report.
Great. Well, good afternoon, folks, and good to see everyone on a nice summer day. It's been an uncharacteristically busy summer, and it's unique in our field, and I think like a lot of other fields. The corporate executives normally, they go away on vacation over the summer, requirements kind of slow down, and they say, hey, we'll pick this up in August, if you have an active requirement. It has just not been the case this summer. It's been, I think, a lot of pent-up activity, folks who have had projects on the sidelines that are now advancing and working through the summer, which has been different for us, but exciting. And we've been on the road quite a bit. So this in May, Lucas and I were down at SIOR, so the Society of Industrial and Office Brokers event down in New York City, kind of giving a market update in the Hudson Valley. And the industrial brokers in New York City are generally not thinking about the Hudson Valley. They're thinking about the Bronx, portions of Brooklyn, and then central New Jersey. So we were there and ended up building some new relationships and telling the story of Orange County as a burgeoning and growing industrial market. So Lucas is running with some new relationships, which is good for us. And then we traveled from New York City up to Cooperstown for the New York State Economic Development Council annual conference. Sandy Mathis was there as well. I was on this under 40 panel with a few other folks from New York City, Syracuse, and I think Mohawk Valley. Unique to see the industry kind of changing in real time. It's getting younger, it's diversifying in ethnicity and more representation of women. So it's kind of unique to see the room change year over year. And now I'm kind of one of the old guys that's there now, which is kind of amazing. So that's good things. And then came back from that. I spoke as a keynote speaker at a graduation for Fayetien College, which is the STEM school in Middletown at the old Psych Center campus, which is unique, and they've become good partners to us just from a workforce kind of feeder perspective. We've got some scientists and STEM graduates who are out in the market looking for jobs, so we tap into them as we work on industrial prospects, which was good. And we had some exciting staff things going on. So Lucas graduated from Leadership Orange, which was great. He had a great experience. I think met a lot of people and both fed the investor pipeline, but also the relationship stakeholder pipeline. And I think that makes now, what is that, Cassie? Everybody on the staff has gone through it.
Yes.
And folks, want to continue to do things and sharpen their swords. So it's been good, and I think highly impactful. We went from that to it was a unique event. Mary Beth was there, as was John Brosnick was there at Highland Falls at West Point. So we partnered with the Association of Graduates, which has very quickly become an important partner to us, particularly as we try to activate West Point Military Academy. Said it, time and time again, we have a one-of-one asset in the United States of America. The volume of military PhDs that comes out of the academy is staggering, and the influence they have from across the world that comes through the campus is very quiet, but it's like shaping American public policy. It's all in our backyard. So the AOG has been a great resource for us to get close to the academy, in part because we want to tap into the innovation ecosystem. I mean, they're working with the top defense contractors in the world, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, on military testing and R&D, and that's an economic development opportunity. And I think a bridge we haven't been able to build, over the last 25 years of trying to make that happen, but I think we've kind of got a path here. And I'll give a shout out to Sandy and Mary Beth for helping bridge the gap to SUNY Polytechnical Institute, which is the New York Creates Center of Excellence for Semiconductors in Albany, trying to connect West Point to that semiconductor ecosystem that they're already playing a role in, like testing, but for weapons and defense capabilities. And that New York Creates connection in Albany is really a way to kind of bridge the semiconductor ecosystems and put us into the conversation. So Highland Falls event was niche for us. The staff, Cassie and Rebecca and Sarah and Lucas, provided some serious support to AOG to pull off the event, which I thank them for, but I think long-term relationships, it was important for us to continue to stay linked there, so some more to come. And then unique, I'm on this committee with Alex, the new CEO of Pattern, and a few other folks on the West of Hudson study that the governor and Pat Ryan are instituting to try to figure out transportation options on the West of Hudson, right? So it's maybe 5 or 6 of us, including Ken Zabrowski as well from the Rockland Business Council. So we're actively talking about regional collaboration in a different way, working together, multi-organizations to spread the word and engage the business community. So unique, I'll say, study happening, lots of work to do ahead, don't know where it's necessarily gonna lead, but the conversations are happening, and certainly happy to be in the room with some of the minds that are helping shape it. Now, at a high level, the work that we've seen, I mean, the project activity has been pretty substantial. We're working on roughly 19 projects across, set variety of sectors. Mike O'Connor cringes when I talk about it because we bug the heck out of them, but they're great partners to us. It's a lot of activity in part from Asia and India. We're seeing foreign direct investment activity heat up from Taiwan, from Japan, from China in some parts. Mainly dominated by pharma, food, value-add manufacturing, including like plastic packaging and wire and cable and paper goods, which is unique, and we continue to advance sites. So a lot of our work is predicated on also advancing this Galaxy Maybrook Steam Business Park, which I'm happy to now publicly say, Domino Sugar, American Sugar Refining is out as the anchor user for the park. So we had our first IDA meeting last week, and it went quite well. So they're contemplating a $55 million investment to build a sugar processing facility that brings up sugar cane from down south via the rail, and through advanced manufacturing processes turns it into, we'll say bulk liquid sugar for, we'll say retail operations, but also wholesale. So unique to see that park move, and I think now we'll start to see both the infrastructure build out to seed the business park, but also Domino, ASR, they go by many names, they're going under Ingredients Plus for this project, start to advance the goal there too. So more to come, and good to see that advance. I'll jump over, and I also want to briefly touch on business retention and expansion. I always say, the attraction is what, is the sexy thing, right? It's the shiny object, the dominoes of the world. But the business retention and expansion has become critical for us, and I'll tip my cap to Lucas and Sarah increasingly, who's taken a more active role in business retention and expansion. And that's literally finding a contact for a plant manager, building a relationship, getting a tour, and then getting in and understanding what the pain points are. Or is there an expansion on the horizon? Is corporate thinking about closing the facility? Or, we're hearing it quite often, I know Cassie can attest to it. Companies are evaluating, optimizing facilities and supply chain more than anything, not so much contemplating new factories, but consolidation of factories, which is unique, and an optimization of supply chain, which we've heard from a few companies that sparked our interest to be really aggressive this summer on BR&E. So we've toured 4 or 5 food manufacturers. Lucas and Sarah will be at an agricultural processing operation in the Black Dirt region of the county, Minkus Farm that does onion processing next week. So really trying to hit all broad spectrums of the economy to make sure, A, is everything okay? B, are you contemplating expansion? Can we help you? And the themes we hear are, do you have any contacts in utilities? Thank God we do, right? Because they're always looking, whether it's a new production line or economic development rate, or it's using sustainability dollars through NYSERDA, that comes up. And 2, can you help us find people? Skilled people, right? So now we plug into community colleges, and then the best days are when they say, yeah, we need to expand, or we need to find an additional location to build a new manufacturing plant. Those are 10%, 5% of the conversations, and the rest is kind of, look, we're going to do 5 jobs here, 4 jobs, 10 jobs, 20 jobs. It all adds up when we're working on 5 BR&E projects, and each one of those 5 jobs, you're kind of moving the needle on the economy. So that's been a pretty important focus to us. And now we roll into events. We've got QPM tomorrow. Hope to see everybody there. We've got 170, now probably closer to 175 registered, which is quite large for one of these events. So looking forward to that. And then we roll into no large events this summer. We have an Alliance for Balanced Growth toward the end of the summer, and then another QPM in September, and we roll into our breakfast in October. So that's what's going on, and I also want to briefly hit on the New York State budget. So budget was passed, was at $128 billion budget, something of that nature, substantial budget. A few wins, some unique complexities in there as well. 2 wins. We were on the team to help support the SEQA reforms in the Hudson Valley with Mayor Noble in Kingston. So SEQA reform made its way into the budget in a different form, but again, I think it's a step toward efficiency and kind of modernizing the framework to which we do projects. Is it the end all? No, but I think it's the start of a maybe broader conversation over the next decade. And 2, the CLCPA, the climate law. So climate law had some frankly unrealistic goals that I think folks came to terms with that also were out of alignment with the Gov's affordability agenda. So I think the timing of let's pause and rethink the CLCPA goals and runway was a critical decision that, you know, we tip our hat to the governor on. And then on the flip side, some complexity, right? So in the budget, there's a provision that ties prevailing wage or PLA to any project that receives IDA benefits or a 485B tax exemption. And won't say too much on that because the ink is still drying, but I think a lot of our work over the past month has been tending to projects that are perhaps confused and trying to work their way through the process, what that means, and then maybe setting the foundation for a broader strategy on competitiveness. But the ink is still drying. I think a lot of questions still need to be answered. So some wins in the budget, you know, some complexities in the budget, but more to come on all the above, no doubt. Happy to answer your questions.
I think money going in for both FAST and Restore above what the governor.
Yeah.
There's also two
Big
wins
Yep, that's right.
at the legislature, added critical money to programs that are, you hope to take advantage of.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the governor didn't include either in her
Either,
budget. She
no.
wanted the legislature to say it was important.
And
they did.
it seemed dire, you know, toward the end.
Yes.
It was interesting. Restore getting back to is good
Yep.
news.
Yeah.
The mechanics of the program are a little bit wonky, but communities like the program.
They remain wonky, right? It's one of those things where the idea is great. How it works in practice is poor.
Yep.
But it's obviously popular, so maybe somewhere along the line there could be some reforms to making it a little bit more
I think so.
user friendly. It's just not user friendly.
And on FAST, we're happy about FAST. You know, I'm on the EDC board for the state, and it was touch and go, but you know, the FAST will be one that $26 million grant on to build the business park. That's a replica. We can replicate that model now. If we're successful with the park, we're going to be successful. It's a case study to roll into the next business park, and that's how we continue. But it's $100 million, and that's appropriated over the next couple of years, which is great. You know, it gives us a pipeline to work on.
And Power Up was just reappropriated because they haven't started giving it yet, so that's still $600
And
million.
I've
A lot
said,
of money.
I've said 100 million. That's like one project in upstate New York.
It
It needs to be
power.
500
Yeah.
million, you know. But
Yeah.
it's, these are wins for sure.
So
Yeah.
this pause with the CLPA,
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Yeah, well, you know, I think it's broad in nature, and I think as they continue to promulgate the rules, it seems like the committees are rethinking the entirety of the runway and the scale of implementation, which is good because some of the upcoming timelines were just, you know, the math, you know, didn't
Not
math,
participable.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and you know, NYSERDA came out with a report that, or maybe it was NYPA, that in order to comply with the CLCPA goals, it would cost the average household $4,000. So as we talk about affordability, and then you know, $4,000, we'll say sustainability tax, it was out of alignment. And I think they reconciled the two. You know, so I think the goals are still there. It's just how do you realistically hit them?
Yeah, and then the recent court action to require the funding of the offshore wind will play into this as well. So I think there's so many moving pieces on the chessboard, but I do think there's been an acknowledgement that there was a disconnect between the aspirations of the policy and the reality in the world. And so that is good. I think the biggest thing is it gives them a lot of space to really to think about how to do this,
Yeah.
which is what is needed.
Yeah, yeah. But it was an interesting budget season for sure. And I think, you know, maybe our first time kind of being in the, not the passenger seat, but, you know, in the minivan, maybe in the back row, to, you know, get some wins and be part of advancing economic development and also having some discussions on what doesn't work. So interesting experience, but, you know, we lived to tell the tale.
Exactly. All right.
That's it.
Other questions for Connor? All right. Thank you, Connor. All right, real quick, we'll do new old business. So
And then we're gonna punt on Sandy.
we're gonna punt on Sandy. Okay. So the Orange County Partnership is proud to announce that our president and CEO has been named one of the top 50 economic developers in North America by Consultant Connect. Congratulations, Connor. So real quick, this got slipped in, so,
It's like the
just
site's like.
for everybody, right? Annual recognition honors outstanding economic development professionals who are nominated by their peers in both economic development and site Location Consulting for their leadership, innovation, and real-world impact in the communities they serve. Consultant Connect is a national consulting firm, and Trade Association for top economic development and site selection consultants in North America. Congratulations, Connor.
Thank you, thank you.
How's Mrs. Ecker doing with the ego problem? And that-
She's a top one nurse practitioner.
Okay, you gotta be managing it well.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right. It was me and I think Matt Holbert from Rochester.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's great. Well,
good stuff.
congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Yep.
Fun and unexpected, but.
There you go. All right, so industry update, we are gonna punt on that. So executive session, which we are going to do today. This is, I will take a motion to move into executive session to discuss financial credit or employment of particular persons, and the proposed sale or lease of real property because publicity could substantially affect the value thereof. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our motion carries, and we will move into executive. All right, I will take a motion to go out of executive session.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our motion carries. There was no discussion in executive session that resulted in a decision, so we will move on. A couple of quick announcements, and then I'll take a motion to close. There are no board meetings scheduled for July or August. Enjoy your summer off. Our next board meetings are on September 15th. It's a Tuesday, 3 p.m. Audit and Finance Committee to review the 2027 draft budget. And same day, 4 p.m. Board of Directors meeting. Industry update will be Brian Hawthorne. And with that, unless anyone has anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
uh,
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you all.